welcome to another episode of Science Talks, a conversation hosted by the University of Arizona BIO5 Institute. My name is Amy Randall Barber. Thank you so much for joining us. Human cytomegalovirus is a herpes virus that infects the majority of the world's population. It is a significant cause of viral-induced birth defects and can cause complications in transplant patients or immunocompromised individuals. Today we are joined by Dr. Rebekah Mokry, a postdoctoral research associate at the University of Arizona's College of Medicine, Department of Immunobiology. That is a mouthful, isn't it? Dr. Mokry works on the human cytomegalovirus replication and its modulation of cellular metabolism. Understanding the metabolism interactions can help guide the development of novel antiviral therapies. Thank you so much for joining us, Rebekah.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm very excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. So we like to start off with just a couple of fun rapid fire questions.
Excellent.
All right, so driving or flying?
Flying.
Fruit or vegetables?
So I probably should say vegetable, but I'm going to go with fruit.
Okay. Would you rather travel to the past or the future?
You know what? I'm going to say I want to be exactly where I am right now.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. Very cool. All right. Cool. Well, thank you. So what was it that brought you to the university and specifically BIO5?
Yeah, so I was really excited about the research going on here. And in particular, I was really excited about Dr. John Purdy's research. So he's my mentor while I'm doing my postdoc here at the BIO5 Institute. And so he is really focused on lipidomics and metabolomics. And so this is identifying different nutrients that are within the body and identifying like how much of them there might be. And this is the kind of training that I really wanted to acquire during my postdoc. And so it was a perfect match. And the university is absolutely wonderful and very collaborative. So it was great that I was getting both my training and a great collaborative environment for one deal.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So you just kind of found him, or how did you?
It did kind of fall into my lap a little bit serendipitously like that. So I happened to see Dr. Purdy give a talk at a conference, as a scientific conference, and I was just ending my graduate work or my dissertation work. And so I saw him give this talk. He was looking for postdocs. I was almost at the end of my graduate work, and I thought I better reach out.
It all came together perfectly. That is really cool. And I think that that's a good example of how accessible, some of our researchers can be. And you identified I need to be with this person, and you made it happen. It happened. It's not like a rare thing, I guess, is my point.
Right.
It's not a rare thing. Like it definitely happens where our researchers, will reach back out to you and are absolutely willing to work with you.
Very approachable.
We find that more and more. Yeah.
That's something I notice here at the University of Arizona as well, is that everyone's very approachable. You can go and talk to somebody about their research, ask them if they can help you with your research. Everyone is really just open and so approachable, and I really appreciate that.
That's awesome.
And that's something you really need as a scientist, is to collaborate and to talk about your science and to talk about how to make your science better. So,
oh, that's awesome. So then BIO5 is perfect for you, yeah, because that's kind of exactly what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you initially received your undergrad in criminal justice. So what kind of made you decide you'd rather do science?
Yeah, so I love this question. I do get it a lot because it's such an unusual pairing. So I have a dual degree for my undergrad that is criminal justice and molecular biology.
Oh, okay.
And so as it happened, I when I started my undergrad, I started a little bit later than most people do. And so I thought I really wanted to do criminal justice, and I was really set on that. And I'm so glad that I did pursue it. It really gave me a great understanding of the social sciences, which I think is really important when you go on to study something like the life sciences, like what I'm in right now. And so it actually has helped me because so much of like the life sciences or molecular biology really does also touch with social science. Especially when we think about improving diversity in research, and improving the culture in research, and plugging that leaky pipeline that's in research. And so I do feel like my social science background has really helped me understand some of these discrepancies and why they're happening. So I'm so glad that I have that.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that actually makes perfect sense to me, and that's sort of it's the wholeness.
It is
of the full process.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What made HCMV become a focus of your research?
So during my, I actually hadn't intended to become a virologist. In fact, I said, I don't want to be a microbiologist. I definitely don't want to study viruses because I really didn't know anything about them as an undergraduate. And I thought that just sounds like a bad idea to do for my graduate work. But as it happens, I happened to rotate in a lab where they were studying human cytomegalovirus, or HCMV. And I just loved the research. The mentor was amazing. It's Dr. Scott Terhune at the Medical College of Wisconsin. And I just thought this is the best fit for me. So initially it was just the research is really interesting. I really like the mentor in this lab, and that's what got me rolling. But as I began to get deeper into the literature and the research, I started to recognize what a really terrible pathogen HCMV can be. And so what really drew me to continue to focus on HCMV was its connection to congenital birth disabilities. And so there's a lot of foundations. There's the National CMV Foundation. There's also an organization here in Arizona, Stop CMV Arizona, and you can go on these websites and you can see these wonderful children who have been affected by CMV and how they're still thriving in their environment, but what an impact it really has to families and to children. And so that's what really keeps me in this research project, is that I'm a basic science researcher, but I really hope that my basic science can go on to help more of these clinical or translational type research.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that. So what is the greatest impact you hope to make with your research?
So along with just hoping that my basic science can make an impact, other people can build off of that for greater studies, I also am really passionate about mentoring. So mentoring the next generation of students. So I love to go to high schools and be like a science fair judge. I also, or even middle schools. And I really am excited about ushering in that next generation of scientists. And then also providing a better culture overall for the mentees that we currently have, our undergraduates and our graduate students. So it's kind of like a twofold thing with how I hope my research is actually impacting not only both on the research side, but also on the trainee side.
Mentorship is so important.
Yes.
And here at BIO5, I find that we do so much of it, and in so many different ways.
Yes, absolutely. In ways you wouldn't even think would be, thought of as a normal mentor.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think you can have so many different mentors that are important, and providing that is really important. There's the research side of mentoring, the personal side of mentoring. So
absolutely,
yeah,
and then the business side of it as well.
Yep.
Here that we have here, yeah, absolutely. So speaking of mentors, did you have a mentor that impacted you?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of mentors, and all of them have impacted me in some way, and I'm appreciative of them all. So Dr. Tracy Lee at the University of Wisconsin Parkside, she was my undergraduate mentor. During my graduate work, Dr. Scott Terhune at the Medical College of Wisconsin, and members of my committee, Dr. Vera Terek-Nova, Dr. Neil Hogg, Dr. Michelle Battle, and then here at the University of Arizona, Dr. Felicia Goodrum, Dr. John Purdy. These are all mentors for me, and they have all impacted my life. However, I think the mentors that have impacted my life the most, I have to say, are my parents, which may sound just a bit cliche, but it's true. They are resilient, they persevere, they have taught me everything that I need to know about doing that while keeping my integrity. And so they are my biggest mentors.
And they are gonna love this podcast. It's gonna bring a tear to their eye. I'm sure they're very proud of you.
I hope so. I
would imagine, yeah, absolutely. You're a member of the BIO5 Postdoctoral Fellowship this year. Can you talk a little bit about how you heard about the fellowship and what part of your project you're doing as a part of the fellowship?
Yep. So I heard about the fellowship through actually a previous awardee. So Dr. Rob Jackson actually informed me of it. And so it was really nice to have him kind of walking me through the process. And I was so excited when I was awarded, and really, really grateful for that guidance, and then also to BIO5 for reading my application and actually really believing in what I had written and the research that I want to do. So just a big thank you to the BIO5 Fellowship Program. So my research is actually impacted in quite a big way, I feel like, by the BIO5 Fellowship. So for one, being awarded that fellowship gave me a lot more confidence to write other grants and to kind of expand on some of my ideas. It just, seeing that somebody believed in me really kind of pumped me up to start writing more.
Yeah.
So in that way, it was really helpful. And then the actual research as well. So I'm really interested in, as I said, Dr. John Purdy's lab is really interested in human cytomegalovirus and its interactions with host metabolism. And this is human cytomegalovirus, so when we're talking about the host, we're talking about humans, so us, because we are the host. And so our bodies have a certain metabolism, of course, associated with different tissues. And so we're really seeking to understand how the virus is actually hijacking some of these processes in order to replicate itself. And so my research is really focused on, we understand really well how HCMV can acquire these nutrients and what it's building with these nutrients in terms of replication. And so previous literature has really shown us that how HCMV is modulating these different nutrients within the body. So I'm going to use a food analogy. So if you're baking a cake and you have everything in your kitchen that you need to bake that cake, you have all of the ingredients, you're going to make a fantastic cake. And in a similar manner, this is exactly how we model HCMV infection in cell culture. We give the virus all of the nutrients and the metabolites that it needs, and it can replicate itself to this optimal level.
Okay.
And so I'm really interested in understanding, what about if we remove one of those ingredients, or what if we limit one of those ingredients? So if we're taking the cake analogy, if we don't have salt, how is this going to impact the cake? Probably isn't going to taste as good. And so in a similar manner, if I remove something or limit a nutrient during HCMV replication, how is that going to impact how much the virus can replicate itself or how well it can replicate itself?
Okay, that makes complete sense. Thank you. That's a great way to explain it. Yeah.
Perfect. And so again, the BIO5 Fellowship is helping me do this through, allowing me to purchase more supplies for my research, and then also allowing me to network a little bit more in conferences and things like that, so that I can really communicate my research to other scientists and to the public as well.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's great. I know that the fellowship also provides a community. So your cohort are, there to serve as resources for you, or, just a sense of community that you guys are together this year.
Absolutely. So actually, this has already really started. So as I said, a previous awardee, Dr. Rob Jackson, he was really, important. But then the great thing is, now that we've connected, we've talked about other, grant opportunities that we can both apply for. And then also the other awardees this year, we've also been in communication about, we're now with this little community of postdocs, and so we're really going through this together. And so having that supportive community is just so important as we continue through our journey.
Yeah, I think the program is wonderful, and we'll continue to do it as long as we can, and probably grow it, and then the community will keep getting bigger. Thank you to Dr. Michael Johnson, shout out, right?
Yes, exactly.
For his brainchild there.
Yes.
So you mentioned you are from Wisconsin, or you went to Wisconsin. I assume you're from Wisconsin.
I am also. Yes, I'm from Wisconsin. Born and raised.
So how are you liking Arizona? Do you like it?
Oh, okay. So I love the University of Arizona, and Arizona is stunning. I mean, it's beautiful. You can't get enough of those mountains surrounding you on all sides. It's hot. It is hot in the summer. So I'll say that. And truly, I'm a Midwest girl. I love, the changing seasons. I love kind of, for whatever reason, I love having all the seasons in one day sometimes, as you get in Wisconsin. But I certainly am enjoying my time here while I'm here. And I do love it. Those mountains are stunning.
And the lack of snow shovels needed, right?
Yeah, that is a big thing. Not having to purchase a snow blower. Yeah, it was wonderful.
That's funny. So how long are you here for? How long do you plan to?
So HCMV postdocs can last a few years. So I'll probably be here at least another 4, but that works perfectly for me because my daughter's actually just entered high school this year. Okay. So she's gonna finish high school. I'm gonna finish my postdoc, and then we'll see where I end up after that.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yep.
That's really, really cool. And then she'll be done with high school, and we'll see where she goes from there too, and that's cool. I have teenagers at home right now as well that are trying to figure out after high school stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's exciting times. So if you could do it all over again, would you still choose the same career path?
Oh, this is so perfect because I just picked up my Jurassic Park water bottle. I would be a paleontologist.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. If I had to go back and do it all over again, absolutely a paleontologist. I just think it's so cool. I mean, what I do is really cool too, I suppose, but dinosaur bones,
Yes, absolutely. They're very intriguing. And do you know that there are some dinosaur bones actually downtown at the University of Arizona Gem and Mineral Museum? I highly recommend it.
That's awesome. Yes, I will go.
And so we like to end just with a fun question. So when you were in, elementary school or middle school, what was your science fair project?
This is a great question. So I was homeschooled for most of my education. And so I didn't have like a typical science fair. So I would say day-to-day activities were like my science project, right? Watching the leaves turn in real time, or watching winter turn to spring and the flowers bloom. And so that was kind of my exposure to science, right? Is just the world, as I was
curiosity.
Kind of yeah, exactly. And then, things like baking with my mom or cooking, with my parents. So, those kinds of things really started. That was the beginning of my science exposure.
Oh, that's so neat. Yeah, and I think that with anyone I talk to that's in science, it's that natural curiosity that starts it all.
Yeah.
That you got to have that, or why would they ask questions that they, are researching? So, all right. Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just so grateful.
Oh, absolutely. We're grateful to have you, and thank you for being a part of the fellowship as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely. All right. That wraps up our questions for today. Thank you for being our guest, and thank you for tuning in.
Thanks to our listeners for tuning in to another episode of Science Talks. Continue the conversation with us next time as we learn more about the amazing science happening at the University of Arizona's BIO5 Institute.